All right. Well, the indictment came out, and I'm reading the very first indictment here. Count one, seditious conspiracy. After you get down past all the names, let me get it over here on screen. See if we can read this. Maybe I can make the print bigger. See, I don't know if that'll show up. Okay, there's their name. Group known as Hutaree did knowingly conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and other known and unknown to the grand jury to levy war against the United States, to oppose by force the authority of the government of the United States, and to prevent, hinder, and delay by force the execution of any United States law. Any United States law. This is an indictment against every militia. They are, in the wording of this indictment, every militia out there is guilty of conspiring to hinder the United States from the execution of any law. All militias are to the Constitution of the United States. So if the United States passed a illegal and unconstitutional law, the militia would go against it. So we're all conspiring. We are all conspirators under this indictment. Because delay by force the execution of any United States law. Yeah, I would say every militia group that gathers together conspires to do that. The wording of this, and I'm going to post a link to this actual document so you can read it. I'm also going to post a link to an interview that I think it was the Southwest or Southern Militia, Michigan Militia, did just a few months ago, saying that the government was in a hurry to do something. They were going to pull off some kind of stunt to discredit the militia. So this was prophesied that this particular event, I didn't know they'd do it to this group, but maybe this was the smallest group. I would say that every militia in the country needs to get their attorneys to watch very carefully this court case. Because how did they get their information? Could it be no more than a bunch of drunken rednecks in a trailer were brainstorming ideas of what would we do if we had to face the police force? The police force in Germany became the Gestapo. How would we deal with that? How would I, let's say if I had a militia, and I wanted to do the same thing our government does. The government runs scenarios and war games all the time. What am I going to do to deal with this? How could I take out the law enforcement? How could I take out the police force? Is that a conspiracy? Did I just break the law? Did I just conspire? This is, by running a what-if scenario. If I am guilty of that, then our federal government, the military, and the law enforcement themselves are also guilty of the same damn thing. Because they conspire. They have exercises. They have exercises all the time on how to kick in your door. Yeah, they do that. They exercise. They have training for that. And weapons of mass destruction, a pipe bomb? No. IEDs are not weapons of mass destruction. The guy was teaching to use them. And that's the job of the militia. That is, by definition, a military operation. if they are guilty of this, then our own military generals in Washington must be indicted. They must be indicted because they are guilty of the same thing. This is the job of the militia. That's why I said they need to, the attorneys for the militias need to watch this case. You need to find out, was it just idle chatter? Were they doing anything? Now, if they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they were going to go off on their own and try to start a war, yes, they're guilty. They need to go to jail. They need to be hung. But we need to make sure, this is going to open court, so the militia's attorneys really need to watch this and make sure they do it right. Make sure it's not just a, a way to just, the government's just pulling a stunt to try to discredit somebody. So I would suggest that everybody follow this case and make sure these people are really guilty of doing more than just idle chatter, sitting around drinking beer, brainstorming on, how would we handle a scenario. Not saying that they were going to do it, but let's see what their evidence is. It was no more than idle chatter. Because I'm sure that many militia groups have sat around and said, well, how are we going to deal with these armored cars the police have? How are we going to deal with that? What are we going to do? How do we stop it? So, like I say, this still could be a government, bullshit attack. But then again, it could be real. If these people were doing exactly what they said, but then why would they, I don't understand this wording of this document, the wording of the first indictment, because it looks like government crap. The government, the militia's job would be to go to war against the United States to fight tyranny. That's what the militia does. That is a constitutional guarantee that our government, it's in the checks and balances. It's in the checks and balances of our Constitution. That's the militia's job. Let's say the government wanted to suspend elections. I believe that would be something that we would have to. That would be a civil war right there. Suspending elections. Elections for president are how far away, and they're already trying to discredit the militias, to disband and disarm the militias? Could they be plotting something like that? Now, I'm not going to say that. That's just another conspiracy theory, but... Okay, I'm going to post the links to this stuff. As in all my videos, I'll say you read it, you be the judge, you make your decision. I'm just pointing out that this very first indictment looks like an indictment against all the militias across the country as a whole. Read it. Be your own judge.